welcome to this episode of Who Gives a Vote. My name is Stuart Taylor, and we've got George Seymour, Satira Travascus, and David Lewis. Guys, it's so good to be back. This is a very soft new episode. This time we had a break from the last election, and we're sort of getting back into it, doing a bit of a YouTube live just to see how it works, to blow out the cobwebs, test some new equipment, and then hopefully in the coming few weeks we'll be able to set up a more permanent episode and give people a bit more warning. We haven't given much warning, in fact no warning today, because I wasn't sure whether it's going to work. So any feedback, anyone can give us feedback to let us know if we're actually online or not. So good times. It's and I am recording on all the other devices, so if it doesn't work now I can edit it later and put it up. George, how you going?
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
Is it fair to say that you speak for yourself and not anyone else in any organisation you represent?
As always, speaking for myself.
Yep. What about you, David? Do you speak for anyone?
I speak for no one. No, I speak for no man or woman.
Have you checked? Have you rung and checked with your wife to see whether you're allowed to?
I did tell her this was happening, but yes, the response was muted.
Yeah. Satira?
I also speak for myself, yeah. I'm not endorsing any candidates or telling people to vote one way or the other or not. Just some musings based on my small knowledge and political nerdiness.
So let's go through what we're going to be talking about tonight. The local government by-elections, the one in Townsville in particular. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to go through some other things. So the Hinchinbrook, is it the Hinchinbrook by-election?
Yeah.
And other notable by-elections, we're going to have a bit of a chat. So it's a by-election episode. The biggest controversy we've had so far is working out how by-election is spelled.
Yeah, it's tricky, that one.
Yeah. Why do they call it a by-election? Does anyone know?
I never thought about that.
Yeah. Because if it was by-election, it should be BI for a two, or like a...
I don't know.
Well, we should have prepped for that question, I suppose.
No.
I like the comment of someone in the various communications leading up to it that spelt it B-U-Y.
Yeah, I wonder who that was.
Some elections are the BUY elections.
Yeah.
It seems like in Townsville, someone has spent a fair bit of money, the Catter candidate, or the previous candidate or member for Hinchinbrook. He's certainly spent a bit of money, so some people might say that, but you're entitled to spend as much money as you like on elections. So let's get into it. We've got our introductions out of the way. Let's talk about the Townsville election, or the by-election. 9 candidates, one's pulled out, so it makes it 8. Is that right?
Well, he can't pull out. He's still in there.
Yeah.
He's still on the ballot. He could still get elected.
Yes.
Who's that?
Sean Gleason.
Oh. So he can pull out, you're saying...
Well, he can't.
He can still be elected even though he's publicly said he doesn't want to be.
That's right, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he left it too late.
Yeah, so once nominations close, you're on the ballot. You're on the ballot.
Right.
He can resign if he wanted to after the fact. Look, I don't think he's going to get elected. But George, did you want to go through and tell us who's running?
Yeah, and so for example, on that point, I mean, if people have been disendorsed too late, like Pauline Hanson, 1996, Liberals disendorsed her and she still won. So there's the candidates. Sean Gleason, he is the young chap who is still running, although he doesn't want to, and could still get elected. He's number 1 on the ballot. Number 2 is the man at the center of it all, Troy Thompson, who was elected last year against Jenny Hill, who was the long-term incumbent and very closely associated with the Labour Party and the long-term administration of the city. Troy was investigated, he was suspended, and then he resigned. And it is that resignation which has led to this by-election, which is by a postal vote, which we could discuss later. A postal vote changes the dynamics a lot. You won't have how-to-vote cards, for example. When you got 9 candidates and there's no how-to-vote cards, it's potentially very much a first-past-the-post election. Somebody on 25% could win.
Is that customary, postal votes?
Not in this circumstance in a big city. Say for North Burnett, it would be.
Okay.
Their election is postal. But I'm sure there's never been a by-election for a mayor of a city the size of Townsville done by postal before. like, say, for example, Rockhampton, that was not postal, the by-election for their mayor when Margaret resigned. The by-election for the Fraser Coast in 2018 was not postal.
Okay.
It was certainly, at booths. The third candidate is Harry Patel. He has run for mayor on 3 previous occasions. He's a regular candidate, not going to win. The fourth candidate is Nick Nemetto, who is the favourite. Nick Nemetto was the sitting MP, just re-elected last year, Cadder Party for Hinchinbrook. And he's, personally, I look at that. People often ask me if I'm going to run for state parliament, and I give them a wide range of reasons. Most particularly, I say I wouldn't consider it a promotion. And so he's almost validating me for seeing somebody who he's in parliament on a pretty sweet ride, really.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't have to run a department. He's just there. He'll get re-elected in 2028 if he ran again. Cadder's very popular in North Queensland, and he's stood down from his seat in parliament and everything that goes with that to run for mayor, to run a city like Townsville, which is in deep strife in so many different ways. So you got to. I admire what he's done in terms of swapping over. I mean, he hasn't retained the safety of his seat. So he's very much the favourite, very well known.
That with Nick is very, very interesting to me because one, I don't see any evidence of him resigning in controversy. He hasn't resigned in controversy. He has talked about his desire to be the mayor of Townsville. He looked at it last election, decided against it, and then his response was once he saw how Townsville had become in disarray, particularly with the former mayor being stood down, that's when he decided he would run. He actually presents very well. He holds himself very well. He talks very well, and certainly is a pretty good candidate and a reason to be the front runner.
Yeah, he's a clean skin. If there was something on him, the other guys would be attacking him, and they are attacking each other. But yeah, he presents very, very well. He's got a much bigger following on Facebook than anyone else. I mean, if you look at the Facebook followers, he's streets ahead of them all. He's like 30,000, and Troy Thompson's on 5,500, and then the sitting councillors on about 1,000 each, which doesn't equate to votes, but it certainly equates to name recognition. And
it's interesting because the Townsville Bulletin today ran a poll, one of these readers' polls, and the results are very early. Only some booths are in. In fact, I had to vote on it to be able to access the results. And when I did, there were 368 votes in, and he had 68% of them. Yeah. There was only one other candidate that actually got into double figures.
Was that Troy Thompson?
No, it was David Kippen.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And Anne-Marie Greeny, who's the sitting, I think, acting mayor, was on 8%. Numbers have changed, but only by 1% since then, with another 150 votes in. It's only a small poll. But when I saw that, I thought, this man must have a terrific social media because he's said to everybody, get on the paper and vote.
Yeah, he is. He's got a very good Facebook following. The next candidate is Chris Paulson, who is a restaurant owner there, a financial planner with mining sector experience. Not going to win. Anne-Marie Greeny is the acting mayor. She doesn't have a massive profile. She was part of Team Jenny Hill, so that's at the moment not in her favour.
If she loses this, does she go back to her?
Yeah, she keeps her seat,
Okay.
She's the incumbent, but she hasn't really made much of that in terms of being, like when I ran for mayor, a lot of what I treated being acting mayor as, my introduction, as the evidence for why I should be mayor. And I don't think many people have seen that she's done fantastically well in that in terms of stability. She actually replaced as acting mayor the next candidate, Paul Jacob, who at the start of the last term was elected deputy mayor. And so then when Troy Thompson was stood down, suspended by the state government, he became very briefly the acting mayor. But Anne-Marie had the numbers in the council to make her the new deputy mayor and therefore the new acting mayor. So he's dirty at her.
He certainly is. I mean, you can see the resentment.
Yeah.
That was November last year, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So, and he was it a 5-6 vote?
Yeah, it was pretty close. Yeah.
And then it switched in her favour.
Yeah, so he's dirty. Interestingly, he's resigned, not resigned, he stood down without pay, which obviously he's telling people about, which goes to his credit. It's unlikely he'll win too, though. And he's associated with Jenny Hill. Joanne Kiyuni, she is a very active candidate. She's running a very active campaign, former council employee.
2 years as doing a Bachelor of Education in primary.
Yeah.
It's a strange sort of, to be doing your studies and preparing for education degree and then to be going into that. It's a little bit of a hard sell to say, I want to be the mayor of an important city like Townsville.
Yeah. And so, but she's got a very active campaign. The next candidate, David Kippen, he is, he's a strong candidate. He was formerly the CEO of the Peak Lobby Group, Townsville Enterprise Limited. So he's really put himself forward as a serious candidate, kind of attacking Demeto for making promises he can't deliver on. And I think, David, you said he polled well in this poll, David.
Yeah, he's got 15%. He's coming second.
So he's very good on paper in terms of his experience, how that transfer. I think, but barbecue talk and people general name recognition, it's nowhere near Demeto. But in terms of considered people looking at it, he's a strong candidate.
But as far as call flutes, signs, social media prominence, Nick has certainly got the lion's share, significant investment. So Nick Demeto's got this very good campaign. He's run many times. He's got a machine there, and Troy Thompson's got sort of this populist aggrieved group who say audit all the finances, get there's a very anti-council, sort of anti-government bloc. That's what the area that Troy Thompson represents. So going back to Troy Thompson, and he's been investigated for misrepresenting himself at an election. Dare I say, telling a lie. I think most of the population think that politicians lie, but I guess it's a serious lie in the sense that if you say that you've been a member of the SAS and you in fact haven't, that's a pretty sort of unsavoury lie.
Yeah, and when you look back, there's this pictures of him in front of this banner which he had printed, and one was soldier, and it turns out that was pretty loose with the truth. The next one was like successful businessman, and that turned out to be very, very untrue. Then there was one, it was something like to do with his qualifications. And it turned out he hadn't graduated. And then there was one, he even put cancer survivor. So this is literally on his pull-up campaign material. Yeah. And he's not open with what that actually means. He's actually left it open to, that it could be that he had, a mole cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like he's like to actually put that out there, cancer survivor, and he's not really being that fulsome with what that actually means. So it's, yeah.
And amazing that he's running again, given this, I would call it a scandal. It's pretty outrageous. He was suspended and then he's resigned. And then he decides that it's a good idea to run for the.
But he's still being investigated, so he effectively could be sacked, couldn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. Is he still being
investigated?
No,
he's still under investigation. But what he says is that if he goes to the polls and the people vote him in, then that would be an indication that the information that he shared the last election and now this election, it sort of balances it out. I'm not sure if that's the case. What I found interesting in this whole process was, and you would have some experience as would I, is that, and David would have some experience on the concept of a vote of no confidence in a mayor. We were in council together at a time where council was considering that. I was never a fan of council elected councillors showing a no confidence in a mayor because the mayor was duly elected.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that process?
It's really shooting the council in the foot with no purpose, because it's not like you're a governing party or even an opposition where you take that vote and you change the leader, or in Parliament you change the Prime Minister and the government. In council you take that vote and 2 minutes later the mayor's still the mayor. The next day the mayor's the mayor. So you're just, it's meaningless. So it's almost performative, because it won't change anything. So I don't, think
it's just an expression of how you feel. It has no practical consequence at all, especially if the next election's some distance away.
Yeah. So is there a legislative trigger or something which says Troy's been stood down by the minister and being investigated, and he's resigned, and the legislation says that he's no longer eligible based on his conduct? Is there something?
I think if he'd been sacked, there's a period of, is it 5 years, George, where they're banned, something like that.
Right.
So there's a period which takes you beyond the next council election cycle. And that may be why he decided to resign, in case he got sacked. At least this way he can come back.
Yeah, and it's only the minister that can sack a mayor.
Yeah.
Do you get along with the minister?
Yeah, she's good. Yeah, she. I see her pretty regularly through LGAQ. Yeah, and it's great.
At LGAQ, she was walking the floor, talking to people. She's very personable. Yeah.
So if we look at the Townsville election, what's our views? Who do you think is who's going to win and who's going to perform well?
I think Tomato's going to do very, very well. I think he's won it. I think he'll get perhaps 50% primary. Troy Thompson will get 10%, and the other 40% between the others.
And how do you think that bodes for an election where you have two councillors who have run for the position and a non-councillor or someone from the outside actually wins? George, you ran for a by-election. You had a councillor, one of your colleagues, run at the same time, and you were successful and he was not. So I guess the question is pertinent to you is, do you see some problems in that council moving forward?
I don't think so. I think like Darren and I, they'll be very, very motivated to show that, the conflict was in the past. They'll be very, very motivated to see things stabilise and settle.
I suppose it can depend a bit on how the campaign's conducted. I mean, there was no animosity or anything between you and Darren when we had that by-election. I'm not close enough to know what's been happening up there, but if there's a bit of sniping going on, that might impact it. But at the end of the day, you go, if you've still got a seat to take, you take it and get on with business, I think.
So let's move on to Hinchinbrook.
Yes. Yeah, so the by-election is going to be held to elect a new Member of Parliament for the state seat of Hinchinbrook, and that'll be taking place on the 29th of November. So what's triggered this by-election is Nick D'Amato vacating the seat. He's the incumbent of that electorate. And so they're holding a by-election to elect somebody to take that seat. And I think interestingly, we were talking about this earlier today in our group chat, there's been some by-elections where it's changed the composition, or it's changed government. What am I trying to say here? There's been a minority government that has formed as a result, but I don't think it's going to happen in this case because the LNP have so many seats in the Queensland Parliament. So.
Yeah, it'd be a real boom to them. I mean, it's unusual for a government to pick up a seat from a by-election, and so the government would love to win it. I mean, it's Chris Foley's hometown is in the seat.
Yeah.
And they would really see it as a big win if the government picked it up.
Absolutely. I haven't actually looked at the candidate profiles too deeply. Have either of you or you, Stuart?
There's some interesting stuff in there. But first of all, in terms of the national or the LNP picking it up, I had a look at the previous percentages which those parties had. Obviously, they're different candidates, but at the last election, the Caddis Party got 46.4% of the primary vote, and the LNP got 28.2%. So that's a 16% margin. Two-party preferred after preferences are still 63% to
because Labor probably
37.
went better.
Labor went for 65% of the Labor preferences went to Katter. One Nation, the ALP came third at 14%, and then we had One Nation at 4.6%. Interestingly, there was a Cannabis Party picked up 3.5 and pipped the Greens.
Oh.
So, the LNP's got a long way to make up, but of course it's not. It's not the glamour candidate for Katter's party that was there before, the LNP candidate seems to scrub up pretty well. He's got a good history in the city and so on.
Yeah.
And there's an interesting piece of nonsense going on there where the Katter party, Mark Mollicino, was a Labor member. He was a Katter's party member, and then he joined the Labor Party to run with Jenny Hill in the Townsville Council. And I'm not quite sure of the process, but then he lost his seat in 24 and he went back to Katter. So the LNP are making what they can of that. It's a good talking point.
Yeah.
And I saw from a recent newspaper article that a videos emerged from him saying in 2020 that the Labor Party was the party that was closest to his ideals, and he was comfortable with them and described himself as centre-left. All the sorts of things you wouldn't expect a Katter's party candidate to be saying. And of course, I suspect the LNP will do very well. I'm not sure whether they'll get over the line, and I don't know what Labor's doing with its preferences, but interesting.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that Labor's put forward a candidate because it's risky. When everybody's already looking at Stephen Miles' leadership, if they can't do better than 14%, that the LNP will try and put that around Miles' neck as some sort of failure.
He's an ex-Townsville city councillor as well.
They're a candidate.
Yeah, interesting. So I think if I had to pick somebody to take the seat, I'm going to say Wade Chiesa from the LNP. I know that I've written down those percentages, David, that you've just spoke about, and it may be a cap seat for a number of cycles. I just think Wade's got a good presence out there. The work that he's done previously, he's quite well known. He's local. That would be the one for me to watch, followed by Mark Mollicino.
Yes, and his opposition isn't Demeto, so that makes a big difference, I think. It wouldn't surprise me if the LNP were to get up, even though by-elections traditionally go against governments. But the LNP government, there are differences of opinion about its performance, but it hasn't been mired in scandal or any of that sort of thing. So there's not likely to be a big backlash against it.
Yeah, and I think this campaign, it's very much on all the usual issues: crime, infrastructure. The government line of that they used in the previous election, they're just picking up the same and running with that. Yeah,
I guess they're all probably trying to run those law and order lines and see who can be more hairy-chested.
What do you think, Stuart?
Well, I guess some of the things that I think about is that going back to the Katter party, it's just a question. When you have a candidate that is so impressive, like Nick, and he resigns, how annoyed would you be as the leader of the Katter party? Like, you've got to be frustrated by that because you've got a seat. It's there. He's made that commitment. I understand why Nick has done it, but I'm not sure I understand why, how he can justify that to the party that he asked to trust him.
Yeah, and he's resigned from the party. But it is quite extraordinary to go through the lengths you have to do to run for state parliament and to win, and then so quickly resign for a different office.
Yeah.
Could it be something strategic he can do? I know that.
Oh, you can do a lot more as mayor than an MP in a minor party, absolutely.
Yeah, and I know that they're non-partisan local government elections, except in Brisbane. They're not party. There's no party politics. But I just wonder if there's there's bigger pictures behind the scenes for CAP to expand its influence regionally. Because as you say, you can do more when you're in local government.
I find the whole concept of CAP sort of fascinating. Not that I've done any study on it, but it's a curious sort of way to develop a party. arising out of the dynasty, out of Cloncurry. I probably told you, but I was at university with Bob Catter. He's a bit older than me, but he was in the Country Party in those days. And he just to digress very briefly, he was running the Country Party Club, and I was involved in a club for another political party at the time. And there were all sorts of controversies like Vietnam War, conscription and so on raging.
Yeah.
Bob only ever put out one newsletter that I can remember, and it was to justify the gerrymander. And the only event I can remember him organising was a soiree. So he was a player, but only on the fringes. But I guess his dad was the member, and that was a terrific start for your name recognition.
Absolutely.
And he must be doing something right to keep getting
another
elected.
generation there now.
Yeah, that's right. He certainly brings colour to politics. Our youngest loves to imitate Bob Catter. And, ask him to do something. He's not going to give any time to it.
Well, what does he say? What do you say in the street? Don't you say that?
I'll punch guys for less or something to that effect. I don't know. I'll get Joseph on the phone. He can
not turn him a mind to it, because every 3 months someone is torn apart by a crocodile.
Didn't you? I think you fact-checked that.
Yeah. May 1,000 blossoms bloom.
That's it. That's it. Those T-shirt sales of 1,000 blossoms blooming are through the roof. I am going to buy a T-shirt for all of us. We're going to have to wear it at the next podcast.
Very good. Let's move on to, I guess, the other notable by-elections. David, you've got some interesting ones?
Yeah, I flicked back through by-elections. It was interesting because at the time you raised the idea of having this chat, I'd been reading Alan Reid's book, The Whitlam Venture. I mean, it's that sort of week, isn't it? And there was some information. He was making the point in there that Lance Barnard, who'd been the deputy leader in Whitlam's government, had lost that position and wanted to get out, and he was, I gather, pretty jaded. And Whitlam had promised him the ambassadorship in Sweden. Now, the problem with that was, of course, that it was going to create a by-election in the middle of 1975 when things were really on the nose for the Whitlam government. But Gough and Barnard went ahead with it, and the by-election was duly held, and there was a 17% swing against the Labor Party.
Wow.
And those sorts of things really start a snowballing effect, or contribute to the snowballing effect of a government that's starting to be on the nose. So I found that pretty interesting, and of course, the very latest by-election we've had, where there's been a change, was the Aston by-election in April 2023 when Alan Tudge resigned, and Labor's Mary Doyle got in. Now that was one of those occasions. I think, is it the only occasion or is it the only occasion for 100 odd years or something where a government has won a seat at a by-election from an opposition. Normally, oppositions do better because it's a chance for the community to give the government a kick without risking a change of government. But on this occasion, there was a swing of 8.3%, and the Labor Party picked it up. So I thought that was fascinating. The other interesting thing I found was there are 3 by-elections in recent history where someone who was or had been a sitting Prime Minister resigned his seat, and the opposite party won. I mean, Malcolm Turnbull in Wentworth, Bob Hawke in Wills back in 1982, who lost to Phil Cleary, who was an independent, and Billy McMahon in Lowe in the same year, who were lost to the ALP.
Yeah.
So, if you've been a Prime Minister, perhaps you should stick it out till the next election, next general election.
Yeah.
Which is pretty uncommon. I mean, people who lose the Prime Ministership tend not to hang around.
Yeah, it's the same thing at the state. Like when Bjelke Petersen resigned, when he resigned, I think Tony Parrott's father got elected as the Citizens Electorate Council. He beat Warren Truss. And then when Anna Bligh resigned, Labour just barely held it with Jackie Trad. And when Rob Borbridge resigned, Lex Bell won.
Yeah.
So,
Your political knowledge is amazing.
He makes it up, which is really like he's very effective at it. Like he's like Bob Catter. I mean, how many people were killed by crocodiles? I tell you, it's not one every 3 months. Yeah.
But when Palaszczuk resigned, that was a safe enough seat for Labor to hold.
Yeah.
But interesting that you say it's a bit of a heat. It's an indicator, a heat map for the government, whether they're on the nose or not.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah.
Send a message. Yeah.
Mm.
And like that by-election, Ryan, that was a real kick to John Howard, because Ryan, like if you were around Ryan, that's Indooroopilly, it's Kenmore, Toowong, very leafy western suburbs. And for Liberals to lose that in 2001 really gave the message that Kim Beazley was going to win. And then Leonie Short, and a bunch of Labor candidates then lost in 2001 after Tampa and a range of other things. So that was where there was a strong anti-government message in that by-election, which didn't carry through to the general election.
Yeah, that was an 8% swing, so it was fairly significant. And as you say, Ryan's a wealthy area.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of university students around there as well, but it was at least up until relatively recent times very solid Liberal.
Yeah, now
country.
it's Greens. Yeah.
Yeah. And David, can you talk through the Bass by-election? Because you've got a swing minus 17.5.
Yeah, well, that's the one with Lance Barnard, who was
Yeah.
heading off to Sweden. That would. I can still remember that from. I was only very young, probably in nappies, but I can still remember that by-election, and it was a major talking point back in 1975.
Yeah. Bass is a really interesting seat because, like Bridget Archer lost it for the Liberals last time. It goes back and forth lots, but that was Campbell Newman's father that won that one.
Yes,
Jocelyn Newman's husband.
His name was Kevin.
Oh,
Kevin Newman. Yeah,
amazing.
and I thought he did a fairly good job too. But I can't remember how long he held the seat for.
George, you mentioned that it's not common for the sitting government to win a by-election. Why do you say that?
Just because normally, because the public want to send a message. It's very easy to say, send a message, tell them, give them a kick in the shin. It's just public mentality that it's easier to whip up a protest vote than it is for a government to say, vote for us, we're doing a great job.
Other than your own, have you voted in a by-election?
No. I don't think I have, no.
Anyone?
No.
Well, George's.
Oh, yes, sorry.
So who'd you vote for?
Oh, gosh.
That'll remain a secret. Look,
really,
I can't remember whether I have or not. I can't think of one. I've been around longer than you guys. But,
Wait, you were in
I have.
nappies in 1975, you were saying?
I was actually a young lawyer in Adelaide Street, Brisbane. Yeah.
I was born in 1975, so
we should have got a chance to in for Hinkler. I mean, that was left vacant for too long. Like when Paul Neville resigned, that should have caused a by-election, but it was so close.
Yeah, we did talk about that at one of the Who Gives a Vote, and we came up with the reason it was too close to the federal election being called.
But it would have been good. We can only hope.
Would have got the same result, I reckon.
You're staying the full term?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
that's funny.
I think we any sort of final thoughts as we close up. We just want to keep it nice and tight tonight and test to see how it's going. I can indicate that there's been a few technical issues with the sound. Carly's been getting back to me saying that that's why I've been mucking around with the sound tonight. So there has been a few, but it's always good to get back into the habit. So hopefully the next episode will be a little bit sharper, which will be good.
Yeah, well, my predictions are that Demeto will win the mayor and Cap will hold Hinchinbrook on the preferences of Family First, One Nation, and Labour, and the Independent.
That's good.
There's one other interesting aspect to that, and that's what happens, the dynamics change today, but if you look at the federal polls, One Nation has been gaining a lot of ground at the expense of the coalition. And so that would have made me wonder, whether that would have translated. I mean, Hinchinbrook's a long way away. I think the further electorates are from the cities, the more local the issues tend to be. But I was curious to see whether that translated. I suspect it won't now that the coalition have ditched their net zero, because that was a big part of Pauline Hanson's pull of the Conservative vote, and I suspect that's negated. So I suspect it won't, but it wouldn't surprise me if, as I mentioned earlier, the One Nation vote was only 4% or something. It wouldn't surprise me to see that up around the 8 or 9.
But going back, one of the questions is why voters don't like when people don't fill a full term. Why is there not, for Nick, a pushback on him in his role at going for mayor, and also why wouldn't you anticipate there'd be a same negative consequence for the Katter Party in Hinchinbrook?
Yeah, I think it's the unique circumstances that it is so rare for somebody to be running for a level down. Like, I think if he was a sitting mayor running for Parliament, people would look at him and think, "Oh, you're only out, for the money or the prestige." I think people see this guy who's, could be drinking whiskey in the members' lounge and flying back and forth and living it good, taking up, rolling up his sleeves, getting into hard work as a mayor, and people respect that.
Hard work as a mayor.
Yeah, I think that's my take of it. The people see some, what he's doing. He's not doing it for self-aggrandizement. He's not doing it as promotion. He's doing it out of public service. That's my take on it.
Do you think the media has any role in shaping, a negative narrative? Because I agree with you. Now that you've said that, that makes a lot of sense. But I just feel like in previous by-elections or in any election, the media has a hand in shaping a particular perspective, and they've really left him alone in this.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
In this by-election.
So just going on one more theme that we started with in the beginning of the episode, which is postal votes. The question I have is, do you agree with postal votes? Is it a good thing either for a by-election or a normal election? And on top of that, who does postal voting favour in this instance?
Yeah, I don't like postal voting. It's just so complicated. And you're seeing that right now in the campaign, people saying they haven't received their ballot paper. It's feeding into a sort of anti-government conspiracy. I think an election should be front up and you cast a ballot. It just gets complicated. It does favour incumbents. It favours people with name recognition. Whereas, full vote where you've got weeks of pre-poll, you got 50 booths to cover, that favours people with organizational ability, people with the volunteers and the resources.
Yeah, look, I think that's pretty on the money. It does help, in particular, people with name recognition. And incidentally, I noticed that the LNP candidate, how does you pronounce his name?
Wade Chiesa.
Chiesa was the football caller for the Cowboys.
He is too.
There's nothing quite like that to get you name
and he's very
recognition.
good.
And
at calling the
some,
football,
some pretty responsible jobs up there.
Yeah.
So I'm not a great fan of postal voting, even though I can understand it. Just getting back to the votes very quickly. I suspect One Nation will pull votes off Katter for the reasons you were just outlining, that there'll be a bit of disaffection about it, even though we can understand. In fact, that little explanation you gave of why it's not such a bad thing would be, he could do worse than sort of spread that around, publicise that, because it's a very good argument if you wanted to run that sort of argument. But the counter arguments are there as well, and I suspect that both LNP and One Nation will take votes off Katter, and I think the Katter will probably lose.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on today's or tonight's episode, or by-elections? No. We've worked out how they're spelt, which is great. I don't know why.
It's going to be fascinating. Elections are always good fun, especially if you don't have a vested interest in them.
I really enjoy elections.
It's great.
It's interesting to watch the to and fro.
Yeah. We should reconvene and assess the results.
And maybe we could talk about the midterm US elections to see the progressives from the US absolutely smashed it over there. That's an interesting dynamic in the US.
Yeah, New York and New Jersey and Virginia.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting to talk about that as well. So guys, thank you for joining us. I will, as Satira says goodbye, I'll turn us off on this great channel.
Do I have to say goodbye for long? Do you need long?
I need about 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you, George. Thank you, David. Thank you, Stuart, for sorting the tech out.
And our sponsors.
And our who are our sponsors? Hawks Lager.
Okay,